Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 2017, and welcome back to Maplewood Farm. So, let's get in here and get going. First thing I can tell you is oh god, you can see it already. First thing I can tell you is we are recording in action. We are not recording in shadow play. That bug that I was having, that I thought I got rid of, came back. And it's a bit of a mystery. It really is. Essentially, when you use when I use the GeForce Experience / Shadowplay app to record Farm Sim, only in Farm Sim and in no other game or sim, only in Farm Sim, it shows a second tiny little FPS counter over toward the left side of the screen, almost like it's rendering a second frame or something. I don't know. And the recording shuts off after like 15 to 18 seconds. And I can't find a thread for it. I mean, GeForce Experience and Shadowplay is so buggy to begin with that it's like everybody's got a beef with it. Beef, I said. Everybody's got a beef with it. It's good, you know, but I feel like it is I feel like it's a consumer app, I guess is the best way to say it. And certainly I'm a consumer, but I feel like at a certain point, you know, we start, this is going to sound horribly pretentious, but you'll know what I mean. I feel like at a certain point as YouTubers, we sort of get into that, prosumer is a term that I've heard. I really like it. We get into the prosumer market where we need better solutions than just regular consumer solutions, but we don't necessarily need like a full-blown professional setup, if that makes sense. So Shadowplay is definitely, to me, it's more on the consumer side. It doesn't have a lot of controls. The main advantage for me is because it pulls directly from the card and it's hardware accelerated. There's like zero impact on FPS. And it works really, really well in most sims, or at least most of my sims. But then some of them, it just doesn't. Some of them, it's really, really stuttery, really jittery, and then, like in Farm Sim, and this is new, because it always worked before, it's worked for hundreds of episodes, and then it just quit working. So, I don't know, I thought I had it fixed, I thought I had debugged it, but to be fair, I didn't debug it in a very scientific manner. Like, I did a bunch of things at once. You know, I did new drivers, I reinstalled GeForce Experience, I did some firmware upgrades, and that's not how you debug. If you're a good technical person, that's not how you debug. You do one thing at a time, then you test and you document the result. And that way you can, because I can't find any kind of an error code indicating what the problem is. So if you debug one function at a time, then when you find the one that fixes it, you can sometimes like reverse engineer what the problem was in the first place. And I didn't do that. I did a bunch of stuff. It seemed like we had a temporary fix, and now the problem is back. So that's how it goes. We've only got a few episodes left of Farm Simulator 17, and man, I am glad. I love this game, you know I do, but it makes me crazy. It is Frustration Simulator. I pulled my rig apart. I mean, I'm the Portable Gamer. It's right there in the name. I pulled my rig apart, and when I put it back together, controller support for this game. Every time you plug your controllers in, pardon me, every time you plug your controllers in, even if you plug them in to the same USB block and in the same order, it will from time to time recognize them differently, and then scramble all your assignments. So it'll take all your key codes from your gamepad and put them on your flight stick and vice versa. And the problem is, well, that doesn't work at all because we've got muscle memory for one thing. As far as a gamepad, like what gamer doesn't have muscle memory for a gamepad? When was the last time you looked down at your gamepad and were like, okay, I'm gonna press this and this? Like, you're trying to do combo kills, son. You don't have time for that. It's all muscle memory. So that's the first problem. And the second problem is the buttons are different. So I have buttons on my gamepad I don't have on my flight stick and vice versa. So it's just a non-starter. So when I fired the game up today, nothing worked. I had to go in and like reconfigure. And the problem with my input binding file, I'm not complaining, by the way, I'm just talking about gaming. The problem with my input binding file, if you don't know this about Farm Sim, virtually every mod comes with its own bindings. Oh god, that frame rate, I'm so sorry. Ugh. Virtually every mod comes with its own bindings. So when you install a mod, even if you decide you don't like it and you uninstall it straight away, it has written those bindings into your... Oh, now I got the artifacting. Oh, FS17, get here, please. Please, I need you. That mod that you used for 5 minutes has written, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 input bindings into your input binding file. And after 2 years and all the mods that I've had, my input binding file has literally thousands and thousands of bindings, many of which are not even used because the mod is long since uninstalled and deleted. But to the idea of going in there and manually, like, it would literally be quicker to delete my input binding file, restart the game, and it would generate a new one, and then go in and manually reconfigure, right? Now, how did that happen? We weren't doing anything. Okay. What is going on, man? We're gonna start the truck. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is new. This has never happened before. I don't know what this is. Let's turn off GPS and see. I'm at a loss right now. I'm at a loss. I love this game, but today is just, oh, it's just, no, I need this. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm like on a quest right now. So we got that. Let's get rid of this. And get rid of this. So how do we do this? Do we, let's try this. Okay. So we're going to shark mode. As long as we keep moving, we're okay. Oh. So yes, input bindings, it would literally be quicker to go in and generate a clean input binding file. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I want to unfold it. There we go. No. What the hell? Okay. Oh, God. Come on, Gabe. Please, just stick with me here. Okay. So we hook it up. It is lifted. What the hell? Okay. So that turns it on. No. Okay. So is it up right now? It's down. It's up right now. So this folds it. That turns it on and off. What? Oh my goodness. What? I'm kind of at a loss right now. Okay, so, okay. That is clearly not working. Should we stop? Should we stop? That folds it, but it also raises and lowers it? What in the world? And we can't stop. I don't know. I mean, this is not, this can't be realistic because something's going on with the tractor. Let's get back to grass. Yeah, I don't know. I knew as soon as I started the game up this morning it was going to be a problem. And in hindsight, you know, maybe. Anyway, so let's get going over here. But it hasn't dropped. So how do we lower? Bridge marker. Yeah, I just want to lower the tool. Easy Pete's. Okay, so we're rolling. We're planting some grass, are we? I hope we are. We're not making tram lines. Okay. Good grief. Way too fast. Slow down, son. So anyway, it would really be easier to create a new input binding file than to try to somehow go through and manually delete. It's probably 80% of the entries in there are for mods that I don't have anymore. So it really wouldn't even make sense to do it that way. It would make more sense to just create a new one. And that is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's something they overlooked or if there's a specific reason they did it that way, but it is, it's a little bit frustrating that, well, I mean, the fact that it keeps input bindings that you don't want or need anymore, that's pretty bad, but the fact that it reconfigures your input bindings every time you plug in or unplug a controller. I mean, in my perfect world, you can have multiple controllers, right? Like you can have flight sticks and wheels and game pads, right? You can have all your controllers plugged in at once, and a game only recognizes the ones that you want to be using. And I understand that might be like too big an ask, as they say in the industry. Not too big an ass, too big an ask. Like that's just not possible. Or it's possible, but it would require a lot of cumbersome and I don't want to say unnecessary code, but it would require the developers to do things that are like just above and beyond. So maybe that's not such a good idea. But at the very least, when you uninstall a mod, that it would delete those entries so you don't have thousands of input bindings. All right, I'm done. And you know, I hope you realize I'm not ranting when I talk about things like that. It's just, for me, it's part of gaming. You know, it's part of gaming. And I've always wanted the channel to be like what gaming is like for me, and this has been, I'm not kidding when I say like FS19 can't get here soon enough, because I really want to uninstall FS17. I feel like, now I'll cop to this. This is my responsibility and my fault. I will cop to the fact that, like a lot of sim gamers, I have modded this game and pushed it well beyond what it was ever intended to do. And at that point, of course, it's going to become unstable. You know, of course you're going to have problems. And I say this all the time. If you are frustrated by the way your game is behaving, uninstall all your mods, run base game, and you will have zero problems. You'll have massive FPS. You'll have no crashes. Everything will be awesome. For the most part. You may have a crash now and then, but you know what I mean. You will not have the problems you have when you mod a game heavily and push it, like I said, well beyond what the developer ever intended it to do. So that's our choice that we make as gamers. And, you know, do you want stability or do you want a lot of cool toys? So, yeah, I mean, I get frustrated with it, but what I remind myself ultimately is, if it's that frustrating, just turn it off. Don't play it anymore. So there are some, I guess, almost mini-game aspects to modding, where it's not just the game itself, it's keeping the game running. And some of that is being on PC. But then again, you know, the mod aspect of it, a lot of that is sort of unique to PC. You can't necessarily do the same kinds of things with mods on a console that you can on PC. So that's one thing. The other thing, this is really weird. I was, no, it's not really weird. I take that back. It's interesting. I don't know if it's really weird. I don't want to set myself up for a disappointing story. So I've really been into rally lately, and I've got 3 rally sims. If you watch all my videos, you hear me say the same things twice, and I do apologize for that because I hate repeating myself, which, ironically enough, I've said exactly that same thing before. So that's meta, yo. So I've got 3 rally sims. I've got WRC7, Dirt 4, and Dirt Rally. I was playing Dirt Rally last night. Really, really like that sim. And and you're sort of, I don't want to say locked into, but Dirt Rally and Dirt 4 really push you toward career mode. WRC7 is essentially only career mode, but you know that going in. I feel like Dirt 4 and Dirt Rallies have a free play, it's almost like a free play tease, you know? They kind of make you think you get some free play, but it really pushes you toward career mode. And I don't know if you do this when you game, but I sort of get immersed. Part of that is the OCD. Lift. Part of that is the OCD. Part of it is these games are really effing immersive. You know, they're designed to be immersive. And you may have heard, a year or so ago, maybe a little bit less, there was a guy that worked at Facebook or Twitter somewhere. But he essentially copped to something that we've all kind of known for a while. And he said, yeah, we designed these things to be addictive. We made them addictive. And the idea of, you know, likes, getting likes and getting followers and getting subs, like we designed them to be addictive like a slot machine. Like we really designed them to be addictive. And I think of the sort of the trophy systems in sim games and the Steam achievements, and yeah, it's designed to be addictive. It's designed to keep you playing. So, you know, the idea of getting to the next goal, right? You know, I'll go to sleep after I get to the next save point, or I'll go to sleep after, you know, whatever. I think everybody does that. All gamers that I know do that. I don't know very many people, except for my friend Scott, who his nickname is Guido, which, if I say Guido, I mean Scott. Not that you know or care about who Scott is, but anyway, Guido. We'd be playing like golf or something on console, and it would be like the 15th hole, and out of nowhere he'd just be like, "You guys got to leave. I'm going to bed." And it wasn't because he was winning or losing or anything. Like there was no logic to it. He would do it at any time. It didn't matter who was up or who was down, so it's not like he was trying to get out of a game that he was losing. He would just say, "You gotta go, I'm going to bed." And that was it. But other than that, I don't know too many people that just stop a game. Like, you will always want to get to a save point or to a something. You know, you want to get that next item or that next whatever. So I was playing Dirt Rally last night, and I wanted to finish a championship for 2 reasons. One reason was I wanted to have enough credits to buy a new car. There's a specific car that I want. And then the other thing was, it was a championship. I wanted to get to the end of it. And I was in Clubman mode. And I hadn't really thought about this. Like, I hadn't done the math on this. But I was in Clubman mode. I had won the rally won the championship in first place in open mode. And I was in Clubman mode, and I hadn't played the game for a while, and I was thinking, I don't know even if when I was playing it that I had played it like to that level. But I just rallied and rallied and rallied last night, like till my thumbs felt like they were gonna break. I was rallying, yo. And I get to the end of the rally. I missed the car that I wanted to buy by 10,000 credits. Right? It's $500,000. And I have like 485,000. Dagger. And then on top of that, it says you now qualify for the professional rally. And I look, and it's the same series. It's the same championship. It's just the AI is harder. And I don't know where I was with that. Because on the one hand, it's like, well, I get that there's a limited number of locations and tracks and circuits that any game can have. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so my prize for doing well, and I didn't win it. I think I came in third at the clubman level. But my reward for doing well is I get to do exactly the same thing, but not as well, because you're going to jack the AI on me and make it even harder. Okay, thanks, game. And I didn't even get to buy the car. So that really got me thinking about legs, they call it. In my industry, they talk about legs. And legs is how long you can keep something going. And I've been thinking a lot about the comparison between video games and movies. And both movies and video games, they make the majority of their money in the first 4 weeks, right? And the way people watch movies now, like people that go to see a lot of movies in movie theaters, don't, like, there are more movies coming out than there are weekends. And most people that I know, even people that I know that go to a lot of movies, like there are people that I know that go to a movie every weekend. It's just what they do. And so you got 52 movies a year. Well, there may be more than 52 movies that come out in a year, although there are some dry periods, like during the summer there aren't a lot of releases, but you know what I mean. And then the other thing is, even if, like, let's say 4 big movies come out the same weekend, well, you pick the one you want to see the most, and then you're sort of, I don't want to say this, like by the time you get to number 4, it's old, even though it's only a month old. It's like it's hard to maintain the enthusiasm to go see that movie a month later. Although some people do. But bottom line, movies make the bulk of their money in the first month. And then 6 months later, they make more money when they go to Blu-ray. And then they make the last of their money as licensing when they go to Netflix and Amazon Prime and stuff. But it's that first month. And video games are the same way. So I watch a guy named the Rad Brad, YouTuber named the Rad Brad, and he does a lot of FPS games and RPG fantasy games, I guess, God of War, and he's doing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now. I'm really enjoying that. But I don't play FPS games anymore. I don't play RPG games anymore. But what I remember about them is they're very intense, and it's easy. And I think almost all of us now, when we get something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, we play it a few hours a day until we beat it. I gotta remember how to fold this thing up now because all my buttons is different. Okay. And for some reason that time we did not stall out. I don't know, man. I don't know. Come on, FS17. So I wouldn't say that everybody binges a game. To me, binging a game is like 7 or 8 hours a day for a week, and then it's done. I think for most people, it's like a couple hours a day for a couple weeks, and then it's done. But something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or any of the Call of Duty titles, it's like once you beat them, that game really doesn't have legs. That is... And now it's not stalling. That is crazy, man. What the H? Okay. So games like that, to me, they really don't have legs, because once you play them, it's like there's, you know, Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider series, once you beat it, now what do? You have every item. You've beaten every boss, right? And I was talking about rally games earlier. There's a reason for that. I feel like rally games and racing games in general, the reason they have legs is because the type of people that are into racing games are the type of people that want to always be taking, like, they want to be taking time off a lap. Oh, and I swapped out. You saw a couple episodes ago, we had a... I have no idea what that's about. A couple of episodes ago, we had a slurry spreader, and I was referring to it as an Abbey. It's actually a high spec, and I believe there's some crossover there, but I went ahead and traded that in and got a proper Abbey. Come on. I want to see if this thing keeps stalling after we take this cedar off it. So anyway, the race crowd, people that are into race sims, you can race a track or a rally course forever and constantly be trying to take a little time off it. But once you beat a boss monster, it's like, what are you going to do? Beat him better? You know, beat him again? So I feel like the kinds of sim games that we're into have incredible legs. And something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it really doesn't. It's not a game, like I've been playing this game for 2 years, and I'm looking forward to the next episode in the franchise, clearly. Euro Truck, American Truck, I feel like those games have incredible legs, and you can just play them forever and ever. Whereas a game that's more sort of short and intense, you play it and then it's done. And you may play it again, like, oh, you know what, I haven't played Assassin's Creed Odyssey in like 6 months, and then you start over, or you start as a different character or something. But the idea that you could just play that game on and on and on, sort of World of Warcraft style, I think is not, I just don't think it works out that way. And now World of Warcraft, and maybe the ultimate example would be EVE Online. What they've got going on is, and as I say this, keep in mind, I am OCD, so I'm not throwing shade on anybody. But I feel like games like World of Warcraft and EVE Online really leverage the OCD crowd, and really leverage that, like the social media engineer was talking about, like, we designed this stuff to be addictive. And I feel like, because you know grinders, I'm sure you know World of Warcraft grinders, and it's like, man, is that even fun? And they're like, I got to get the mithril phone book of binding, and they just grind to get those items. So now I will say, we run mods in FS17. We run mods in ETS and ATS. We run mods in spin tires. But I think our mods are a little bit different. And I'm not defending them or saying that the items that you find and loot in something like Assassin's Creed, I'm not saying that, like, sim gamers are better than FPS or RPG players. I don't mean it like that. I just mean our items are different. And I can show you actually right up here. Because our items are, well, for one thing, they're sort of reality-based, but they also don't have nearly as many layers to them. There's like 50 levels in Assassin's Creed. I keep blacking out. Like every time I try to say Assassin's Creed, like somebody hypnotized me, and I get all wonky every time I try to say it. But there's 50 levels. And so there's like 50 layers of upgrade for every item. It's a lot of upgrades, man. It really is. That's crazy. Whereas something like Farm Sim that we're in right now, like I found a bunch of John Deere tractors of the approximate and appropriate size for a farm like this. And then that was it. I downloaded them. There was some specific weights that I wanted. Now we're going to pull this thing up here and see if it stalls with no implement on it. See what that's all about. That is crazy. Do we need to do an oil change? I mean, what is going on? Let's try that. Let's go do an oil change and see if that's what time it is. But, I wanted this specific tractor. I wanted it set up a certain way. I wanted a specific weight on it, and then I'm done. For me, there's really nothing else to do with this tractor. Oh my goodness. Come on. I don't know what is causing that. I don't know what the deal is. And I'm sorry about the blinking artifact up there. So yeah, I think it's amazing to see the contrast in games between a game that is going to have kind of a short burst of of intense sales and activity, and a game that is going to oh, forgot we gotta, oh god, with the stalling. Okay. It's this is gaming. At least it's gaming in my world. So I'm trying to like steer the camera, not stall the tractor, not flip through the wall, not hit the front loader, just get back to the damn oil. And I have a feeling this isn't going to fix it because the oil light is not blinking, so I don't think this is what time it is. But nonetheless. Alright. So we go here, and what's our code? Yeah, it's not even giving me the option to change oil. Yeah, it's not an oil change. I don't know what the deal is. That is a new problem that has never, I can honestly say in all the time that I've played Farm Sim, that has never happened. So I don't know what's up. So, come on, stay running. And I don't know how we're doing on time. I want to take some water down to the cows, and then we'll call it. So I don't know as a game developer. I mean, I think every game developer would have a goal of creating a game with legs. But I feel like every movie maker would want to do the same thing, you know? Yeah, how do you make a classic movie? Like, what's the formula? And you look at something like, I'm trying to think of classic movies that I can think of off the top of my head. You look at something like Shawshank Redemption. It didn't really do very well when it first came out. It's super popular now as a cult movie, and it's on the AFI list and everything. I'll restart this tractor 1,000 effing times if I have to. I am so, like, mad at this game right now. Come on, game. What else you got for me? Oh, I found the water on the farm, too. It's over sort of toward the farmhouse. So we'll go fill up. I'll show you where that's at. It's, like, over in that little area right there. Yep. So, oh, we could fill up from the cistern as well. No, I'll show you where the other one is. So, that wasn't intended to be a classic movie. That was just intended to be a movie. It's a really good movie. You can see that a lot of time and effort was put into it. But it was not intended to be what it became. It just became that. And then you have something else that was clearly designed to be a blockbuster. And not so much. You've got things like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars that they are so big that they literally have like a universe. We talk about the Star Wars universe. We talk about Lord of the Rings. Now, to be fair, J.R.R. Tolkien pulled that off before the movies. I know plenty of people, going back to when I was a kid, plenty of people that were like heavily invested, emotionally invested in Lord of the Rings. So that's been geek bait for a long time. All right, so we'll fill this. Shut the tractor off because it's going to shut off anyway. So I feel like those were, I don't want to say designed to be blockbusters, but you know what I mean. Like that, if you make Lord of the Rings, that's going somewhere. That's a big title with a big history, and they had a big budget. Peter Jackson knows what he's doing, so yeah. But Star Wars, the fact that the story doesn't match up, like in episode 4, he's making out with his sister. Come on, man. Sister kisser. There's no way that Lucas was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have them be brother and sister, but in the first episode of when they meet, I'm gonna have them kiss a little bit, for luck. So he was clearly not anticipating that movie would be successful enough that there would be a sequel. And yet there was, and now we have the Star Wars universe, and etc. You know what I mean? So when you make a game, are you able to like predict or design it to have legs? And if you do, are you anticipating having less sales up front? Less sales in the first 4 weeks and more sales in the next 50 weeks, or whatever. I don't know. But I know with Steam now, with everything being bought through Steam, I know it is extremely likely that, oh, you know what? I don't, we're going to pull into the store and call it. Sorry for the awkward dismount, but I just remembered cows have water. Pigs do not, but I can't get this tanker into the water trough of the pig farm. So we're going to call it here, and I apologize if this is rather abrupt. In fact, to keep it from being as abrupt, let's take this back to the farm, and I can at least tie off the thought that I was having. So with everything being on Steam now, developers can monitor very closely, actually in real time, they can monitor how well a game is selling, and also how much people are playing it, when they're playing it, how long they play it for, as far as like per session. So I think game developers can see pretty clearly that for something like Tomb Raider, that is kind of a binge game. You know, people are going to play it 2 or 3 hours a day, finish it, and then probably not play it a lot after that. But it's okay because they bought it. And they may pick it up again when there's a DLC with some new items or a new map. But you contrast that with something like ETS, as an example, that at least I play for like an hour or two, 45 minutes to an hour, a couple days a week. And I've been doing that for years. So I don't know. I don't know if game developers sit down and think like, you know what, let's just make a game that a lot of people buy in the first month and then they're done with it. And other developers are like, no man, I want to make a game with the longest legs ever. I want people to play it for years and years. So hard to say. And something like Rally, I feel, is right in the middle, because it's you can't really beat the game. I mean, you can get all gold at the highest AI, or all gold against the highest AI, you know what I mean? But then you can still continue to take time off your best times. You can try to continue to do PRs on all the courses or all the tracks or whatever. So it's sort of both, you know? It's you can binge it, and then it's got legs as well. I don't know. This has been kind of a weird episode, and I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. Next week we'll do grass. Week after that we'll do harvest, and then we'll call it for this map. And in the meantime, I will try to figure out what's going on with tractors and FPS and everything else. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farm Simulator 2017 from Thornbrook Farm. No, not Thornbrook. Sorry, Lancyboi. From Maplewood. And we'll see you next time. Take care.